And they're in awe in the early hours of the morning watching this incredible sight, and it's literally taking place down there. He's been enveloped in what I call the lower silence. Just there, literally just there, where I parked and I saw I can only liken them to a string of sausages, gold to orange lights in the sky. And you know when things of a truly unexplained nature are taking place, when this silence sort of envelops the area surrounding the witness. Are these otherworldly encounters? Is that what you think they are? Does that sound remotely military to you? It doesn't to me. Hello everyone, welcome to Truth Proof. I'm back up at Waldgate with the Bobster. Because when I visited a few weeks ago, I realised that there were a few more things that were relevant and needed talking about. And one of those things were the UFOs, the light forms, the spheres of light, that I'd personally observed whilst here back in 2006 to 2009. Because where I'm actually stood now, this little area, is where back in the day I used to sit for an hour 2 or 3 times a week. Because I used to drop one of our daughters off at karate and come and wait here because it was 10 minutes from where I dropped her off. It's on the outskirts of town. And some of the reports were whilst I was sat observing this incredible landscape where you'd got Fraysthorpe out in front, Barmston, Driffield, all the way to Hull. And obviously if you look down there, you've got Bridlington in the distance. Obviously you can't see Bridlington. Where I'm pointing there, there's what's called the Carnaby Temple, which we might visit. We might actually show you a little bit of the Carnaby Temple, known as a rich man's folly. But that's not the purpose of why I'm here now. There was one particular night, I'm not sure of the actual year, something tells me it was 2006/2007, and I was parked here. Mary sat in the car, we're both sort of waiting for Laura to finish karate, and I literally stepped out in the darkness and I'm overlooking the land. The wind turbines that you can see in the distance weren't there. And you get an incredible view of the Carnaby Industrial Estate and Hull into the distance. Well, firstly Driffield, Beverley, Hull. And then if you look into the distance, you would come to Cottam and Sledmere. And those locations were prolific for light form activity back in the early 2000s. And probably still are today. It's just that we're devoting most of our time to Bebton and Speeton at the moment. Yeah. 2 lights, that, Steve?
It is 2 lights next to each other, but it's not moving, is it?
Stationary, innit?
I don't know what that is. Oh, it is moving, isn't it? Or is it?
I'm just going to get it lined up with a light. So as I'm surveying this incredible view, I turn round to look at Mary, who's going to be sat in the car there. And above, in the sky, are what I can only describe as an arc of yellow, glowing, sausage-shaped objects. Literally, there must have been 10 or 12 of them. And as I'm looking at them, they're just dissipating. But they're long, they're oblong and slightly bent. And in all the years that I've been taking reports and observing things myself, I've never ever seen anything like that. And as fast as I was looking at these things, they were dissipating. But that's not all I've seen from this location. I think it was 2024, so we're not going back that far. I brought Bob Brown up here. Bob wanted to sit and observe the sky. He'd just bought a Psionics camera. So myself and Bob parked the car just there, same place I parked with Mary back in 2006/2007. And we get out and take in this incredible view. On a clear night, you can just see for miles. But in the distance, huge globes of yellow light began to light up.
Back again. And we're back again.
just walk, and I'm going to walk not in front of Bob.
No, you're all right.
Can you see me in camera, Bob?
Yeah, I'm all right.
This just
Bloody hell, that's bright.
that is incredible. That is nuts. Look how bright that is.
I know that is bright.
And there's another one.
Oh, yeah, saw that. Yeah, I've got it.
Wow, this is really cool, Bob. There we go.
And they're lasting, aren't they?
Now, if you get in the car and drive over there, there's nothing but farmland. Not saying that it couldn't have been something military or perfectly mundane and explainable, as in some kind of aerial vehicle that's man-made. But nevertheless, we managed to film that. I've just moved away from the car and the Waldgate Road temporarily because there is another UFO report that I've been informed about from this area. And it's literally just over there. Less than half a mile from Waldgate Crossroads, and I'm not going to identify the exact property, but I know for a fact that the people at the property were alerted to some strange lights in the back paddock or pasture of their home one night, and I would have thought we're going back to the late 2000s, and there's all lights in their bedroom, so bright and vivid that they're penetrating the curtains. So they get out of bed, husband and wife, and very carefully creep towards the window that looks onto nothing but fields and the woodland in the distance. And when I say in the distance, I'm only talking a few hundred yards. But in their paddock, they say that there's a cone-shaped object that's spinning. 6 to 8 foot round, I don't know, 6 to 10 foot tall, covered in lights, spinning as fast as a Catherine wheel in the paddock, literally just doing its own thing. And they're in awe in the early hours of the morning watching this incredible sight, and it's literally taking place down there. Are these otherworldly encounters? Is that what you think they are? Does that sound remotely military to you? It doesn't to me. It sounds like something that's not of this world, or not of the world as we know it. And once again down there, then we've got just there, literally just there, where I parked and I saw I can only liken them to a string of sausages, gold to orange lights in the sky that dissipated. And then we've got myself and Bob Brown's orange lights further up there. So I think this area in particular has a rich history of UFO activity. Light forming, ILFs, intelligent light forms is the term that I coined, and that's what I think that they are. But that one down there, that's as strange as it gets. As you can see, we're on the edge of the North Sea, and we're at Bridlington, which is where I live. Looks like tide's just on the turn. And I've come down here today because not everything that I talk about regarding the strange and highly unusual has to revolve around woodlands and forests. Some of it takes place in town or on the outskirts of town. And what I want to share now is an unusual story from 2006. I've got the audio on here. I hope it's not going to play havoc. And if you look there, down towards the north side of town, and there's the Expanse Hotel in front there. There's a story that starts at the Expanse, which I'll cover one day. But what I'm talking about now involves a steward from one of the local pubs who told me this way back in the day, 2006. I've spoken about it before, but I've never actually been on location, so to speak, which is down here. And although it would be good to get a nighttime setting, you wouldn't really get a feel for it because it'd just be blackness. So he's come down onto this beach with his little dog. I mean, today I've got that one, look. I'm not letting him off because his head'll fall off. There's some other dogs on beach. It's night time and it's low tide. he becomes aware that everything's gone silent. He's been enveloped in what I call the lower silence. And you know when things of a truly unexplained nature are taking place, when this silence sort of envelops the area surrounding the witness. I think it's one of the first telltale signs of something of high strangeness occurring. Well, I don't think it is, I know it is. And you'll not see me nail my colours to the mast on many things, but when it comes to things of an unusual nature, a lot of people comment that everything went silent regarding all types of unexplained phenomena, not just the UFO subject or anything else. So he's down here. The sea's a little bit calmer than it is today. He's minding his own business. And everything's gone quiet. The dog doesn't seem perturbed or bothered by anything. But he just looks up above him. And in the air, it could be 2 or 3 feet above him. It could be 200 feet above him. He doesn't know. But in the air above him, there's an oval-shaped rainbow. Just oval shape that's filled with all the colours of the rainbow that's slowly swirling. And it's above his head. And he's confused. And he reaches up on his tiptoes and kind of tries to touch this object. That's how confused he is, because, like I said previously, it could have been 200 or 300 foot above him, or 2 or 3 feet. He can't touch it. And he's trapped in this strange silence that's just enveloped him and the dog. And he's watching and observing, trying to make sense of it. He's looking back to the lights of the properties that are lining the seafront. There's nothing strange there. He's not been transported into some kind of time slip or anything like that. At least he doesn't think he has. And then the light slowly starts to move out to sea. The object itself is totally silent. And as I've previously said, he's enveloped in what I've called the lower silence. And he watches this object just slowly travel out to sea. When it gets out over the sea, it looks quite low, which on reflection tells the former club steward the object was in fact just a few feet above his head. And it was large, you know, it wasn't a small object that was swirling around in this rugby ball shaped, oval shaped object. And it slowly just makes its way out to sea and just disappears towards the horizon. I may as well film these anglers. These guys fish the beaches quite often, and this is the reason they've got such a good vantage point for seeing these strange spheres of light over the sea. They're just fixed there and they don't move. I've just been told about an unusual story from this fella here. Must be something in the air that keeps these people fit and healthy. So you're at Reeton Sands, 2000s, you're on your own,
Yeah.
night time, clear sky. What, sea calm?
I'd say, what? Why, 01.
2001?
Yes.
Yeah. And there's a gold light that just appears.
Well,
And what it fast?
no, it was one of them, you know.
And you think it would out on horizon then?
Well, it is as I look.
So there you have it. There's 2 old fishermen, 173, 182, and the younger one of the 2 tells me about seeing this gold light when he were fishing at Reeton that just appeared over the sea. Could see all the ships on the horizon, and then it proceeded to move at great speed into the distance and were gone. These stories are incredible and never ever cease to surprise me. There's 2 men there who I've never met before in my life, who's fishing this beach here, and I've asked them if they've seen anything unusual, and one of them says, yeah, he's seen this gold light out at sea in 2001 at Reeton. Here we are again. I've left Bridlington, as you guys know now, And I've just come to Danes Dyke on a low tide, because before we jump back up onto the Wolds and the area of land around Woldgate, there's one more account I want to tell. So I'll cover that when I get down onto the beach. Okay. We'll let him have a little play. Look at that. Come on, you lunatic. This way. Oh yeah, that's great fun, Bob, isn't it? Come on then. Come on. Come on. He's just dancing around my feet now. I don't know what he wants from me. Come on. There he goes. Yeah, get at it. Come on. We'll just have 2 minutes letting him have a play before we talk about this UFO account. And it's not going to take us long anyway. Then I want to talk about something quite bizarre before we close it all down, that kind of meshes into it all. And the reason why I say this is multi-phenomena research. Come on then, Bob. Come on. His fitness levels are incredible. That's happiness, isn't it? You know, if you didn't look at this channel for anything else, it's worth looking at just to see this little dog's happy face, isn't it? Let's face it. Come on, Bob. So as you can see, I'm back down on the beach with Bridlington in the background. And this next story, look at that, it just keeps distracting me, that lunatic. Come on. And for this next story, we're going to go back to 1984. And there'll be some fishermen, no doubt, that remember this. Some of you might still be actually working the sea, and if you do, get in touch, because I know that people listen to this. As bizarre as my stories and these accounts are, a lot of them come from people like yourselves. So imagine being out there, 1984, in the fishing grounds about 5 to 6 miles off coast. And you're looking inland, you can see Fraysthorpe, Wilsthorpe, Barmston, Bridlington to the right. But amazingly, and it is amazingly, there is also something else to see. Because low over the land, there is a large diamond-shaped craft. And that's all we can call it, a diamond-shaped craft. Very, very highly polished silver. And it's between Wilsthorpe and Barmston. And these trawler guys can see it. They can see this craft, and they know that it's very low, probably only a couple of 100 foot at the most above the sand dunes. They've got radio communication with other guys in trawlers, and there's other people can see it. Then without warning, it begins to turn on itself. And whether it's point facing out to sea or not, I don't know. But suddenly it heads straight out to sea and over the top of the fishing vessels. At that point, all radio communication cuts. A few seconds, it's gone, and then radio communication is restored. 1984, silver diamond-shaped object. Was that something man-made? Quite possibly could have been. Obviously, between Fraysthorpe and Barmston is not a built-up area, but it's still a populated area. It's still frequented by people. So would military technology or some highly advanced technology made by man be present or displayed out there? I don't know. If not, it was something else. A craft of true unknown origin. I guess we'll never know. Okay, I'm going to jump inland now before I head back towards Woldgate and talk about a strange object, UFO, cryptid, an emergence of the two, you decide, and then we'll go to Woldgate to close it down. Okay guys, catch you soon. Come on, Bob. Hey, come on. Yes, happiest little dog in the world, aren't you, mate? Come on. Yep. Come on, let's get off this beach and let's get somewhere where it's a bit more sheltered, and we'll talk about this crazy almost hybridization of a sighting going back, I think, to 1934, almost 100 years. We just need a little bit of shelter now because I'm sick of this wind, and we'll talk about this unusual sighting from 1934. And I don't know, you won't be in suspense too long. You might think it's nothing when I've told you, and after that we'll wind it down at Woldgate. Okay guys, let's get back up here, and I'll do that with my little assistant. Come on, look at him, happiest dog in world. Obviously he's in rock athlete mode now, doesn't mess about, you know. I've said this loads of times, haven't we? He could probably be a mountain rescue dog if he wanted. Obviously it's up to him. I'll let him make these choices in life, and for the moment he just likes chicken and chasing stones. Come here, Bob, that's a good lad. And we're going to head inland. Okay, I'm just going to head down into the bottom of the dike for the final instalment of strangeness before we finish off at Woldgate. And it looks like a tree's just suffered some catastrophic wind damage. Look at that. That's absolutely incredible. I hope it's not blocking my path to get down into the dike. We'll just have a look at this before we actually do the story. Wow, that is absolutely awesome. Can you imagine seeing that come down? There are rotten parts to this tree, and it's now just part of the furniture of Danes Dyke. I wonder if anything living will shoot from it. Okay, let's move on. Come on, Bob. So before I head back towards Woldgate to finish this short film about UFOs that sort of span the East and North Yorkshire coastline and inland the Wolds and the North Yorkshire moors, I want to tell you about a report from 1934 that kind of bridges unexplained phenomena and inexplicable phenomena, because I know, Bob, none of it makes sense. As if anything that I talk about makes sense, let's face it. You know, cryptid type sightings, UFO reports, things that just defy description. But then in this report you've got a blend of the two. And rather than me tell it, but I'm going to read it straight from the newspaper article from 1934. Obviously, it could be just misidentification. That's probably what it is. But it's interesting. And it's entitled "Gardener Gets Shock of His Life." And Gardener mistook eagle for an aeroplane. Bird as big as a man. So here goes. A sound resembling the noise made by an aeroplane heralded the approach of a large bird near Bridlington School on Saturday evening. Okay, and my glasses are steaming up. And it's all blurry, this writing, so bear with me. From the description given by a reliable eyewitness of a strange spectacle, it is now considered almost certain that the bird was a golden eagle, king of the birds. 1934, listen to the description. But he heard the sound of a plane accompanying this bird. This is strange. The golden eagle in its natural haunts is a huge creature preying on animals and smaller feathered creatures. The legendary stories of its adventures are countless. Mr. C. Dowson of 152, I'll not say it name, something road, was digging in his garden when he became aware of the presence of something large and strange. Okay, I think we've all seen that, haven't we, as we walk down High Street, in the presence of something large and strange walking towards us. But enough of that. Right. On Saturday night, just when it was becoming slightly dusky, I was working in my garden. The garden borders the Bridlington School grounds. Hearing the sound of something flying in the distance, I thought it was a plane, and 9 times out of 10 it would have been a plane. Its body was grey and the wings were red. It had a tail just like a fish and a curved beak. So he got a good view of this. And although the sort of headline says Gardener gets a shock, mistook eagle for aeroplane, bird as big as a man, it doesn't, from its description, sound like a golden eagle. It's just incredible, really. And he goes on to describe it. Its body was grey and its wings were red. It had a tail just like a fish and a curved beak. There's a little bit more, but it's really difficult to read. Does any of that sound remotely like a golden eagle description? And then it's actually making a sound like a plane, and it's as big as a man. You know, at best will in world, you know, because they've got a huge wingspan, a golden eagle, they're not as big as a man. So is that some kind of mistaken identity, or are we looking at a true cryptid? I'd only said a few weeks ago that we'd got no Mothman or big bird type reports from around our area, and then we've got this one. Gardener sees bird as big as a man, thinks it's a golden eagle, then gives a description that doesn't sound anything like a golden eagle. So we've done UFOs on the Wolds. We've come to the beach of Bridlington to talk about a sighting there. Observed the fisherman, asked one of them if he'd seen anything, and he had. And then I've jumped back to the coast to talk about the diamond-shaped craft that was seen between Fraysthorpe and Barmston. And now I'm going to go back to Woldgate, share a little bit more of the UFO-related material, and we'll pick it up from there. Okay, see you soon. Off we go. Okay, we'll jump back to the road and the Woldgate crossroads and just talk a little bit more about the strange activity along this stretch of road, an old Roman road. I also filmed yellow lights over a heap of manure, and how ironic that here we are in 2026 and there's another heap of manure, but I may be able to find that footage and put it on for you now to show you where it was filmed back in the day. So those are just a few UFO related reports that I've managed to document from this location. And then if you look into the distance, you would come to Cottam and Sledmere, and those locations were prolific for light form activity back in the early 2000s, and probably still are today. You may remember there was friends with a farmer up at Staxton Wold who had the cameras in every room of his house, moving on cams 24/7, and he was documenting the UFO activity up and around the Wolds, and many of the things that he saw were looking onto Octon, Sledmere and Cowlam, and that's what led me to the location. So there you have it, a few UFO type reports that have come out of this particular area. Take care, bye bye.